It's a Brothers Grimm story about limitless amounts of porridge. Bear with me. The story normally called The Porridge Pot. There was, a long time ago, a widow and a daughter who lived together. And of course, times were hard, it was very difficult, and they were often hungry. And one day, the daughter was walking through the wood, and she found herself going off the path and found herself going to a bit of the wood that she wouldn't normally go to. And there, perhaps in a little cottage, because there are always little cottages in Grimm Brothers woods, there was an old lady. And of course, an old lady living in a wood has to be a witch, doesn't she? And there she was, and she could see that the girl was poor and very thin. And so together, the old woman and the daughter shared some porridge from, I suppose, a cauldron that the old woman had. And she ladled out bowls of rich, steaming porridge, and I think it had honey with it, because I always like honey with my porridge. Do you? Do you like honey? I bet you like honey, don't you? I bet you like honey. And as the young girl was leaving, the old woman picked up the cauldron and gave it to her and said, "I take the wooden spoon, tap the side of the cauldron and say, 'Porridge pot.' And the cauldron will begin to make porridge. And when you have finished, tap the side of the cauldron with the wooden spoon and say, 'Stop, porridge, stop.'" So the girl took the cauldron home to her mother, and for the first time in their lives, they had a kind of limitless supply of food. And of course, porridge is good. It kind of sticks to your ribs, doesn't it? And all was well until there came a day when the young girl went. Where did she go? I think she went into the wood. I think she did that quite a lot. I think she liked being in the wood. And left her mother at home alone. And her mother said to the cauldron, "Porridge pot." And the cauldron began to produce porridge, and more porridge, and yet more porridge, and it bubbled up over the top of the cauldron, and it overflowed and flowed all the way over the kitchen floor and out through the door and down the garden path and out onto the road, and it carried on making porridge until the whole village was ankle deep in porridge. And all the people in the village kind of had to eat their way through all the porridge that was flowing out of the cauldron and flowing into their gardens and flowing everywhere. Can you see this? Can you see this sort of tidal wave of porridge? I think the message is, if you have good fortune, you need to share it with others. But the porridge was flowing all through the village, and people were having to eat their way through the porridge that was overflowing into their gardens and onto their paths, until the daughter came home and picked up the spoon and tapped the side of the cauldron and said, "Stop, porridge, stop." And the cauldron stopped producing so much porridge. But I really like that story because I just like this. I like this picture of the porridge kind of flowing, but I kind of like the idea that one cooking pot could kind of feed a whole village. There we are. Um, there are lots of other Brothers Grimm stories on the Brothers Grimm Facebook group. And if you like Brothers Grimm stories, do subscribe to my channel because I really enjoy telling them and I'd love to share them all with you. So, but do remember that story the next time you eat your porridge. See you soon. Take care. It's been my pleasure to tell for you. Do listen to my other stories and please do subscribe to my channel. See you soon.